Welcome back to the Business Exchange, the show where we dive into the ideas, people, and innovations shaping industries and redefining industries. I'm your host, Joseph. And today I'm joined with John Richardson, partner of Richardson Brothers Construction, a third generation construction company based in Hutchinson, Kansas, specializing in steel building solutions for agricultural, commercial, and industrial clients. Richardson Brothers Construction has been operating for over 5 decades in a long-standing and is a long-standing Butler Builder contractor, and it has earned the Butler's Career Builder designation of recognition of proven performance and consistency. Well, John, welcome to the show.
You did a very good intro. I appreciate that.
Good. I try. All right. So, Richardson Brothers Construction is now in its third generation. Can you walk us through how the business started and how it's evolved over the decades?
My grandfather and his brother partnered up in the mid 1950s in Winfield, Kansas, which is near the Oklahoma border. And they first started building houses and then brick buildings for commercial construction. And they eventually partnered up with Butler as a Butler builder and had a Butler building franchise down in Winfield, Kansas. And they operated down there until the mid 1980s. My father and his first cousin adopted the same name and started in 1974 in Hutchinson, Kansas, which is located close to the middle of the state of Kansas. And they weren't able to sign on as a Butler builder immediately, so they started building garages and houses, and they bootlegged buildings and grain bins from my grandfather, so he got a little cut so they could put up Butler buildings and grain bins, and eventually they got signed on as a dealer in the late 70s. And then my brother and I grew up in the business. My brother went to college for construction science. I went to college for something else, said I'd never get into construction. I moved away from Kansas, and then my wife and I started having kids, and we really didn't have much for family where we were living in North Carolina. And I talked to my brother about buying the family business and moved back to Kansas, and that was a little over 10 years ago. So we've been going ever since then on our own.
Yeah, excellent. And you're right, family's important.
Yeah.
Okay, what values or operating principles have stayed consistent across the generations?
We're very owner driven, particularly on the job sites. And that's something that can be a hindrance for growth. We don't want to be a contractor that has multiple levels of management. My brother, he and I have very different roles in the company. He is more of the on-job site, working with the crew, right there alongside them. I'm more of he kind of pushes me. You go talk to customers and architects and inspectors and engineers, you deal with all that stuff. I just want to be on the job site all day. And that's kind of where we aim things. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's how we try to do things.
Yes, and that's what I say. You know, you're the good looks of the company, so you got to be the one that's the people first.
Yeah, we're getting to the bottom of the barrel and being a show pony for the business when you get to me.
Yeah. So, what does being a fifth decade Butler building contractor mean in practical terms for your clients?
Well, for us, there's a few different ways people will go about being a Butler builder. We are a focused Butler builder. We don't do anything other than steel frame building projects. There are a lot of builders that have larger businesses, and that's a business segment of what they do. This is just what we do. We decided to go all in and try to be specialists on steel building projects, particularly the Butler building product line. And it allows us some, I wouldn't say, I guess you could use the word credibility. It's more of the familiarity of the product and the people we work with within Butler gives us some insight to where we feel like we have a better grasp of noticing issues or seeing if things don't quite feel right before it becomes a problem on a
Right.
job site. So, we're using the same type of products day in and day out. We do a lot of these projects. We tend to identify things if it is a quality issue, and we take it to Butler, not as a complaint, but more as a feedback loop.
Right.
We try to be a good partner with Butler, and the main office is only 3 hours from where I live. So I go up there quite a bit, and the idea being, help us help you, help us out in the field by providing good information and good feedback to them on what things could be tweaked or changed. And maybe they have internal issues they're not aware of until it gets out in the field. And there's quite a few contractors who may only do 1 or 2 buildings a year. And there's quite a few that will hire out the erection services of the building.
Right.
We have different actual hands on the product out in the field, whereas we're just always out there knee deep into the construction side of it, so we notice certain things.
Yes.
We feel like that gives us a little bit of an advantage. We feel like it gives our customers a better feel that they're hiring someone that is, I don't like to use the word expert, that's well seasoned in what we do. It's a constant learning curve in this industry. So I hesitate to use the word expert like I've learned everything there is to know, because it is a constant looking things up and learning, and code changes
Yeah.
and product changes and industry changes. So it's just being cognizant and staying on top of it.
Gotcha. So what type of steel building projects makes the core of your work?
Well, it's changed over the years. Traditionally, I'd say in the last 3 decades, it's about 50% ag and 50% commercial or industrial. Since 2020, a lot of things changed.
Yeah.
I would say a vast majority of our business is industrial.
Right.
We had a big shift in how we do business around 2020. When my brother and I bought the business, we recognized probably every 5 years we need to evaluate and see if there's any major changes we want to make. And we were already thinking about a few ideas, and then COVID hit. And our business, we were worried, and actually we were prepared for a huge downturn in construction. Right? And growing up in the business, we'd seen that a couple of times. And we prepare our business for those downturns. And we thought, okay, we're going to have a downturn. It's kind of a market correction. We'll see some of our competitors that we see bid on projects that we're involved with may not be around in the next year. And it's going to be tight. We can run very lean, and that's okay. We've seen it happen before. And it didn't happen. What did happen is, as we prepared for that, we thought, what should we be spending our time on to try to find other means of income?
Right.
One of the things we noticed was we were getting some calls at the time from people in other states around Kansas looking for parts for Butler buildings. So I also have a marketing business with my wife that she pretty much runs solely now. So we set up a website for selling parts. And that turned into its own business sector for us. Even going as far as we sell building packages. And it's not our traditional business, it's being a consultant, selling the building package, and being there for service and support after the building is sold. But we never actually physically touch the product. And that's turned into a whole new beast for us. So, and then some builders have retired out of the business, and we've been given opportunities to step in with some of their larger clients to handle their business. So we had to form a joint venture with another Butler builder to handle some of these projects, and it's been a good trip for us, and we're still fleshing that part out a little bit. on these large projects we do. We just finished a 200,000 square foot warehouse. It's about 50 feet tall, and that's the largest single building we've put up as a team.
Oh, nice.
And our joint venture partner, I'm bragging, our joint venture partner was listed in the top 100 metal builders in the U.S., and we were also listed as one of the top 100 metal builders in the U.S., and we're the only two in Kansas. And we're a partners on joint venture. So we're all very much nerdy about the steel building project.
Yeah, why not? So what role does Butler Building Systems and Engineering play in your competitive advantage?
It would depend on the customer. So just like every industry, there's a whole spectrum of customers. And there's a whole spectrum of products and solutions that are out there. Where I find the most success is typically in a business-to-business aspect, where I'm working with someone that can recognize value in the long term. It's a total, some people call it a total cost of ownership. I don't like to use the word cost. I like to look at the total return of the asset. The longevity of the Butler product line, the investment they make into their products, which creates a situation where their product is not the cheapest on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. So you really have to try to show that value and sell that value, and you have to be cognizant that not everyone looking for a metal building is going to recognize that value.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything to them.
Yeah.
If I just need a shelter for something for my business, a shelter could be a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. If it's someone that needs a highly engineered manufacturing facility with tight tolerances, specialty overhead cranes, then we get deep into the engineering, and there's a lot of experience in Kansas City on making that happen.
Excellent.
But one of my favorite things to do is show and tell. I take people to go look at buildings. I've got a Butler building in my area that's over 100 years old, still being used by a business.
Oh, nice.
I have the original paperwork between them and Butler from 1924. So it's neat to go and show people actual products that outlive the competitor's advertised warranty.
Yes. Yes, very nice. So what typically drives clients to choose Richardson Brothers over other contractors?
It's not our good looks. It's usually our other customers.
Right.
We went probably 2 or 3 years where every project we had but one was a former customer.
Oh, nice.
And a vast majority of our new business comes from people who talk to a customer of ours. And we're very fortunate that I have quite a few customers in various areas of Kansas that if they're in the area, I could take them to go look at other buildings. And usually my customers want to tour along, and they'll tell them, mm-hmm. Hey, here's what we did right. Here's what I wish I would have done. There's always, I wish I would have done this different.
Right.
Because from concept of what your business needs to the actual completion of the building and how you're operating in the new building, you're trying to imagine how that best workflow is, and all of a sudden, when you actually start doing it, you realize, okay, maybe being able to tweak this a little bit would have been a benefit. But yeah, letting our customers talk to our customers is probably the easiest thing to do.
Yes. Well, that's a great strategy. Sure is. So in construction, margins are often tight. What financial levers matter most for staying profitable?
Oh boy. So it's controlling cash flow. It is negotiating with vendors on paying early, paying on more amicable terms if those will result in a discount. Mm-hmm. The project timeline can kill profitability. Mm. So if every week of delay is carry costs, they are all your subcontractors. If you have a weather delay, they usually try to go find something else to do, and pulling people back. So there's a lot of variables during the project. The On the upfront side of things, we try not to have any financial leverage on any of our projects. We try to finance them in-house. So we don't use lines of credit or anything like that. So we try to be our own bank. We have discussions with customers up front on ways to do the job in such a way that whether they're paying interest to their bank or they're going to pay a little bit more for the job if I'm carrying the cost of the project versus an upfront deposit. All those factors come into play.
Right.
But it's also, for me, I don't bid on many jobs. It's usually, I try really hard to put myself in a place where I'm more of a business consultant.
Right.
I want to know how you operate your business, how you make your money, and then I want to be in a position where I use my product knowledge, my relationships, and any experience I have to try to help you make more money. And I find that if customers are willing to pay a fair dollar to someone that's helping them make $2, and they usually keep hiring people to help them make money. That's
Right.
really my end
Yeah.
goal on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. So how do you balance bidding competitively without racing to the bottom?
That's tough, and I have a hard time doing hard bids when I'm presented with here's the building package that we want you to quote. Because I know there will be products out there that are cheaper, and there's no recognition of other aspects of value.
Right.
So we want something that's 100 feet by 200 feet and 20 feet tall. There's a whole product range out there.
Yeah.
It would be like someone putting out a bid that I want a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Well, there's all kinds of different brands of pickup trucks. There's all types of
Yeah.
different options. That doesn't get into the what is the best pickup truck for your business.
Yes.
It just, you put it out there, you want a pickup truck, and you know, I try to use analogies to best describe it, but it's not racing to the bottom. The best way to do it when I do get in a competitive bid situation like that is to bid it as shown, and then, if possible, provide some narrative and ideas where I think better value could be put forth.
Right.
A lot of businesses and even government entities, they set themselves up to where they don't have to take the lowest bid.
Right.
They usually gravitate to it. And it's being able to say, okay, your 20,000 square foot building you want out for bid, here's the price. Here are a few things to think about that might actually add to the price but provide more value, and here's some things to think about that cut cost out of the price, and here's about how much. What is this brick wainscot on the side of the building that no one will ever see worth to you if it saves $20,000?
Yeah.
You know, there's the little things. I mean, and that's where I try to partner up with designers, architects. A lot of times I'll talk to customers first, then I'll bring an architect in. Most of the time, that's how our jobs work, is I will work directly with customers and then bring an architect to the table to help us flesh out that vision for the project.
Gotcha. So what financial mistakes do you see newer contractors making with multi-generation firms tend to avoid?
I wouldn't say multi-generational firms tend to avoid this, because a lot of times you'll get a new generation that comes in and they think they have a lot of money in the bank when that's supposed to be used to help finance projects.
Yeah.
I would say there's some easy mistakes, I would say. One is when the end of the year comes around, you don't have to spend money
Right.
to try not to pay taxes.
Yeah.
If you're looking to purchase equipment and it's something you can need or utilize, that's fine. But don't go on a spending spree just for the sheer fact that you're trying not to pay taxes on something.
Right.
It's not a win. Try to keep your personal use and business use separate. And this gets muddled up, it's probably easier with partnerships because they want things to be fair to both sides, but make sure the business is paying you and you're not just using the business assets as your personal assets. Your spouse isn't going and filling up on fuel at the company gas pump. You're try to keep those aspects between your personal and business life separate like you would if you worked for the company.
Right. Gotcha.
Take care of your equipment.
Yeah.
I joke around with some counterparts of mine. There's a lot of it's not mine, I don't care mentality, or at least we think there is. And scissor lift batteries and trailer wiring are the bane of my existence. Because when you want to use a trailer, someone's always messed up the wiring before you got and hooked up to it. It's usually dark and cold outside when you hook up, and all of a sudden the lights aren't working on the trailer because someone messes it up and no one owns up to it. So taking care of the equipment pays off for itself in the long run.
Excellent. So what parts of the business creates the most friction day to day?
With internally or
Whichever.
externally? Oh, yeah. Time management, putting out fires, figuratively. There's always something coming up, and I'm forcing myself to do a lot more of the time management, be better about that. Externally, it depends on where you're at. I mean, obviously in construction, people are going to say, inspections and customers, and I kind of have the mindset, boy, this job would be a lot easier if we could get rid of all of our customers.
Yeah.
That's not the way things work. If I could go back 25, 30 years and tell a younger version of myself what to do, I would say getting more educated on psychology, because it's very much a people business, and
Yeah.
working with people with varying personalities and trying to, I wouldn't say get the most out of people, but trying to work with people to be as productive as possible is a
Right.
huge part of this job.
Right. So what keeps you up at night as a owner? Risk, liability, workforce, or growth?
Well, liability and risk kind of fall into the same category. Insurance is important, but you can insure yourself out of business pretty quick too. There's always going to be some managed risk. I would say probably the growth aspect, and when I say growth, it's not necessarily size of business people-wise or size of the business revenue-wise, but being efficient profitability. So how can I be more profitable with less inputs?
Right.
How can I monetize experience and knowledge? And then also it's my responsibility to the people that work for me, and my brother and my wife and my kids and my sister-in-law and kids and my brother. I mean, he shares in that burden, but yeah, I mean, there's a huge responsibility to our family
Right.
and the people that work with us on keeping the ball rolling. And, if someone got hurt, if my brother got hurt, if I got hurt, if an employee got hurt, it would be a huge detriment to the business. And it's kind of staying in front of that and not doing just, here's what OSHA requires, here's what the customer, because we work with a lot of customers that have their own safety rules.
Right.
It's, okay, this is what they require, but don't limit ourselves to those things if there's something that makes sense. I mean, if there's a practice or procedure that makes sense and there's no skin off our back, let's do it.
Yeah.
Keep our eyes out on each other.
Yeah.
We had a rule not too long ago: no cell phones on the roof.
Yeah.
And younger guys that work for us had a real problem with that. But there's a good reason to not have your cell phone when you're walking on a roof. And it was hard to describe that, but we got through it.
Good. Let me ask you, what did you see as the problem with cell phones on the roof?
Being glued to the cell phone and not being aware
Okay.
of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Being spatially aware of your surroundings on the job site is huge, especially smaller jobs. And that's something my father he would yell at us when we were kids, because you have to get your attention.
Yeah.
Pretend you're invisible and no one can see you. People are backing machines up. You have
Oh,
to be
yeah.
aware of your
Yeah.
surroundings at all times.
Yeah.
There's trip hazards. There's all kinds of things that can come up and bite you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I gotcha. So if you could magically eliminate one operational headache tomorrow, what would it be?
One operational headache tomorrow. all of the forms and office work that has to get done for these jobs. And I don't know what that elimination would be, but the amount of, insurance forms, tax forms, being we're a small operator in the scheme of things as far as staff. So, one day I'm filling out AIA documents for a job for a payment. The next day I'm doing sales tax forms.
Right.
And there's a lot of paperwork that I wish could go away, and just trust me that I'm gonna, if I trust you to get paid, trust me that I'm gonna pay my taxes. It doesn't work that way, but I think over time you see more and more regulations and more forms that need filled out, and it's an overhead cost that everyone shares.
Yeah, for sure. So are you currently using technology in estimating, scheduling, or project management?
I am a stickler / nerd for Excel spreadsheets. And so, we use, when I say we're small, it's my brother and I and 2 people in the office.
Right.
And we're a very small operation locally. And so I do my bidding off an Excel spreadsheet, which sounds at this point in time, somewhat antiquarian. But there are programs out there that are really well suited for estimating. I just keep it in-house because, again, we're doing a lot of the same projects. So I have the ability of if you called me up and said, John, ballpark shooting from the hip, what should I budget for a 80 by 100 steel building located in Lawrence, Kansas, in town, just for the building package? And I can pull up 10 different examples we've done in 10 years of the same building. What did I estimate? I can go into our QuickBooks account and find out exactly how many labor hours we had in it. I can find out the other input costs we had in those. And I can come up with a pretty accurate estimate very quickly. A lot of times I get calls from people, they just want verbally shoot from the hip. But Brian that works in our office, he and I price out probably 4 or 5 buildings a day.
Right.
So we price out a lot of potential projects, and so we have a pretty good feel for cost per square foot for a steel building. And it's different geographically around the U.S. what that's going to be. A lot of people think, give me a price per square foot. Well, I don't know where you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if you're in Kansas, we're designing for 15 or 20 pound roof snow loads. I've got a building in State Line, Nevada that was over 200 pounds per square foot roof snow load. And that's a huge difference in the structural cost on the building.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how people think that we can just shoot from the hip all over the world. A little bit of information, and I can provide it pretty quick. But the estimating thing, back to what your question was, it's Excel. It's an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But we have modeling software we use that's provided to us from Butler that we're well versed on, that gives us up to date costs based on steel prices and input costs that they have.
Right. Right. So do you see AI as a threat, a tool, or a competitive advantage in construction?
For me and what I do, it's a tool. I'm trying to use it as a competitive advantage by adopting it sooner than others.
Right.
Where I use it is back to paperwork, right?
Yeah.
I have used it for looking at comparing IBC codes from one jurisdiction to the next, just to give me a quick,
Yeah.
I have to verify it still, but it gives me a quick area to look at. Where I think people get in trouble is how they do their inputs on AI. So I will ask AI questions and then tell it to give me where it's referencing that information from. Where
Right.
did it find it? So I
Yeah.
can verify the relevance. But I'll use it in-house to do quick scans of contracts.
Yeah.
Look at this as though you're the contractor on this contract.
Yes.
Point out things I should be concerned about.
Yes.
And then I'll go through and verify. So I try to use it to streamline my office work. I am using it quite a bit for our website marketing. different marketing aspects for some big changes we have going on this year for marketing, because we're trying to be more of a nationwide reach
Right.
for our building packages and parts.
Right.
So,
Right. So 5 to 10 years out, how do you think construction companies that embrace tech will differ from those that don't?
it's going to speed up certain aspects of the business. I think for what I do, it's really not going to change many things in the field. I don't see AI going out in the cold or in the heat and actually physically putting up the buildings.
Yeah.
I see it more on the sales, design, and marketing aspects of the business. Where I can, it's going to be where I can streamline operations. I think it'll improve things.
Right.
But it's going to come down to how quickly can AI adopt to providing accurate information and our level of confidence in the information it provides. Because if you're using an AI chatbot, for example, that's, let's say ChatGPT, and it's scanning the internet for information, is it pulling up message boards information? Is it pulling up people's opinions, or is it pulling up facts? Or
Right.
is it referencing manufacturer's technical data, or John Richardson from Hutchinson, Kansas's opinion on something?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
those could be
yeah.
two different things, and one's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's the advice that they're giving out there. It's all how you use it in your prompting, your questions and verification and all that. It can be really great, but it can, if you put one-liners in, well, you're going to get some very interesting answers.
One of the ways I'm using it right now is if I were to go back in time 10, 20 years, at the turn of the century, it's weird to say that now, but 25, 26 years ago, a lot of contractors didn't have websites
Yeah.
in adopting websites. When I was a kid, we had these really small phone book directories, and it was called an area-wide directory. The company was called Feist. And business owners, farmers, they all had this little Feist area-wide directory. And it was this little, I wouldn't say pocket because it was pretty thick, but you'd see them in the pockets of their trucks and whatnot. And so if a farmer needed something for their business, or even a small business need, they'd pull out that area-wide directory and contractors, and you wanted to be placed prominently in the area-wide directory. And then your credibility was based on what they talked about you at the coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
The word of mouth. And then I was trying to explain to my father, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, that having a website and showing up in search engines is your Feist area-wide directory.
Yeah.
That's where people they're gonna pull up their phone and they're gonna Google
Yeah.
contractors or Butler
Yeah.
buildings or whatnot. And then your social media, your Facebook and social media presence is your relevance, that's your new coffee shop.
Yes.
People share and they talk about what you do. And now with AI, it's optimizing for search engines, but it's also optimizing for AI and hoping that AI pulls information from what you do as a relevant factor in the information it gives people. And that's where I really see it going over the next 10 years, is being relevant for being a good source of information. And with our industry, we are losing a lot of knowledge rapidly
Yeah.
as people retire.
Yes,
We
for
have-
sure.
I think the last economic deal I went to, the stat they threw out that is in the steel building industry, it was something like, for every 10 people that retire, only one person goes into our industry.
Wow.
And we have we have an older average age in our industry. So we're losing a lot of foundational knowledge, not only on how things need to happen, but also what happened in the past and how all these other steel buildings were put up and how they were done. And people, there's a huge install base. Even just for Butler, there's 10, 20, 30, probably 100,000 buildings out there
Yeah.
that are older Butler buildings that we're losing the knowledge gradually on how to repair them, where to get parts. And we see that as an opportunity for our business.
Yeah. 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 It's too bad there's not a way to download somebody's brain knowledge when they retire
Hey,
and say thank you.
I mean, look where we were 10 years ago, and don't put it on Musk or any of those guys to figure that out, because it might happen.
Yeah, it probably will. Some head device, and there you go. So, what advice would you give someone trying to build a construction company meant to last generations?
Play the long game. One of the keys I feel is you try to, what's the term, sow the seeds, reap what you sow. Everyone that calls our office is an opportunity to sell our value. And I say that probably 9 times out of 10 people call our office and they're looking for someone that could do a bathroom remodel or build a garage, because those are more of what you see in construction. You see a lot more
Yeah.
residential needs and whatnot. And, we really quickly, hey, that's not what we do. What we do are steel buildings. That's all we do. But let me put you in contact with someone that specializes in that. And please call us back if they don't return your call or it doesn't work out, because I want to know that. I want to be a good resource. The idea being that person hopefully goes out into the world, and whenever someone has a construction question, they say, call Richardson, because even if he's not the guy, he's going to point you in the right direction.
Yes. Yeah.
And eventually someone's going to call up and they need a 60 by 80 steel building. And we've built that credibility. You have time, money, and credibility, and you need to grow that and invest in that credibility in your business as well.
Yeah. Oh, it's always good to be the go-to guy. That's for sure. So, how do you personally define success at this stage of your career?
Age-wise, I'm looking I'm reaching the top of the roller coaster, starting to lean over the edge, getting ready to go down. So it's changed quite a bit in the last year. My grandfather passed away in 2019, and my father passed away in 24. So there's been quite a bit of thought in regard to what's going to happen over the next 15, 20 years as far as career and business. And I'm not really looking at what's the next big thing for me as much as I am how do I create more. Defining success would be more time with my family, more resources for my family, and the people that work with me.
Gotcha.
Where, I've had 2 kids, one's 10, one's 12. And my wife and I got started late. All our friends' kids have kids of their own, and they're getting older already. And so for me, it's more of, over the next 10 years, how am I streamlining my efforts in the business and still getting as good or better results, and finding more time for family and other aspects that I want to be a part of.
Gotcha. And my last question, what excites you most about the future for Richardson Brothers Construction?
I would say our joint venture with Continental Divide has allowed us to be able to take on larger projects, larger scale, without hindering our ability to keep doing what we've always done, and that's be very hands-on with local projects and our current customer base. That's been a good team effort. I'm excited about the opportunity we see. It's kind of an unfortunate opportunity, but it's the way the industry works. The knowledge that's leaving the industry is leaving a vacuum, and we feel like there's opportunity there for us to step in and try to support that. And that's where we're getting more and more into creating videos and trying to have an online presence that, I wouldn't say drives business, but cultivates business with that huge install base of Butler buildings that are out there, people that are working on them, people that have needs for adding on to Butler buildings. We see us fitting into those shoes pretty quick.
Well, that's great. Perfect. John, this has been a great conversation. Thank you for sharing your story, the realities, and the future vision behind Richardson Brothers Construction. To our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, share it with someone in the construction or building space, and join us next time on the Business Exchange, where we explore the people and ideas for redefining industry. Until next time, this has been the Business Exchange.